Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Rene for Yahoo Esports at GDC. I am with Kristian Segerstrale, the COO of Super Evil Megacorp, and you are here to talk about Vainglory, the touchscreen MOBA that's sweeping esports. So first off, I have to know, how did you come up with Super Evil Megacorp as a name for your company?
So Super Evil Megacorp really refers to the fact that we're a group of veterans from companies like Riot Games, Rockstar Games, and so on, who are determined to build an awesome game company. And because we've all come from backgrounds of having worked for big companies, which have turned into kind of from being amazing small companies into kind of evil big corporations, it's sort of at the same time, it's a reminder of what we don't want to become when we become big, and just a reminder not to take ourselves too seriously.
So for people out there who haven't played Vainglory, what makes this MOBA different from some of the other big games that are out there?
It's a 3 versus 3 MOBA that you play on touchscreens. So the fact that you play it on touchscreens, of course, makes it already different in that you can play it anywhere, works perfectly on LTE or Wi-Fi. But what also makes it different is that rather than trying to somehow dumb down the MOBA genre, we just try to think about how do we create the most fun, immersive possible around 20-minute match experience, which still has the kind of tactical and strategic depth that you have in some of our PC brethren in terms of MOBA gameplay, but also couples that with really intensive, frenetic team fights and the ability to play it anywhere.
So how many people are playing Vainglory right now?
So Vainglory is today played by millions and millions of people monthly. We've grown very rapidly. In fact, the North American Championships that just took place last weekend had more than 1 million views across the board, and that's 3 times the views that our Autumn Championships had in December. So that gives you a sense of the rate of growth right now, with teams like Team Solomid, TSM just acquiring their team, as well as Team Secret in Europe, SK Gaming, G2 Esports getting involved. We've just seen incredible growth over the past couple of months.
So your meta changes quite frequently, more than a lot of other MOBAs out there. Do you think that that makes it difficult for new players to keep up with players at a professional level?
So it is true, and our meta does change a fair bit, and there's maybe 3 underlying reasons to that. Firstly, one of the fundamental design philosophies behind Vainglory is actually flexibility. So unlike, say, some of the PC MOBAs where you have very limited build paths, very set roles, we deliberately designed Vainglory in a way where there are very viable strategies around multiple different team compositions, multiple different sort of, if you like, there's a very viable push composition where you really literally just try and push as quickly as possible, very early game centric. There's a very viable team fight style kind of composition, or jungle dominance composition, which means that very small changes in some of the balancing can sometimes shift the meta between what sort of how players play. So that flexibility and the fact that you can play almost any hero in almost any position just by altering the build path for that hero means that you get this enormous amount of flexibility in the game. And we think that what's fun about that is the potential for innovation. So the North American Championships that we just saw, for the first time we saw Gangstars, one of the top teams, actually play a roam Vox. So roam is a position in the game, a bit like support. Vox is one of the characters or one of the heroes. That we'd never seen that anywhere. There was a collective gasp in the audience across the board going, how is that even possible? That should not be possible. And as it turned out, that was a very dominant strategy that won the game. So the meta is evolving fairly rapidly, but what we try and do is to make a game that feels as fresh, interesting, and strategically and tactically flexible as possible.
Vainglory is a mobile game, as we've been talking about, and so you have to use Wi-Fi networks to play, and PvP, Wi-Fi connection, or internet connection in general is super important. How do you guys approach that problem?
So it's a great question. It's something that we've really focused on for years as a company. So there's a couple of things that are really fundamental to it. So one is we've optimized our networking code in the game itself to be as efficient as humanly possible. 2, turns out modern Wi-Fi actually delivers performance that is just as good as a LAN cable, provided that it's tuned correctly. And that's critical for tournament environments, but it also means that for home Wi-Fi, a good 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection is actually just as good as a LAN cable. Thirdly, and the thing that really took us by surprise, to be honest, is the fact that playing over LTE, so over your mobile network, oftentimes gives you a better performance than actually playing over Wi-Fi and your Comcast or your other, ISP connection. And the reason for that is that data connection is really, truly optimized. So that actually gives enormous freedom for anyone to play at any cafe or anywhere with a perfect connection.
Esports started on PCs and continue to be heavily played on PCs. The community is gigantic. So as a mobile developer, do you guys ever feel threatened by the community, attacking you and your legitimacy as someone in the mobile space?
It's a great question. We actually grew up as PC gamers ourselves. So I grew up with like Warcraft 3 and Unreal Tournament are probably still my all-time most hours spent kind of games. And our journey from the start has been one of how can we create a legit experience for people with our backgrounds who, we're sort of snobs when it comes to gameplay, and so we totally get the skepticism. We welcome the skepticism. Frankly, if people weren't skeptical, we would feel like we're not trying hard enough. We're not trying to really push the market forward. So we totally get the skepticism. We welcome it. We want the community to help us make a better game. If there's ways that we can make it better, great. But come and check it out. Download it. See what you think. Tell us. And we work very closely with the community to make it better.
Clearly, your community of Vainglory players speaks for itself. What do you really attribute the success of this touchscreen MOBA to?
So firstly, we're still really early, and we would hate to call ourselves a huge success, but we have been very impressed by the growth of the player base. There's a couple of things that are important to us. Firstly, we are all core gamers ourselves. We all play the game every day together with the community, which helps us stay really centered on the thing we're trying to make. Secondly, we try to work super closely with the community on evolving the game. We released our very first open beta nearly 2 years ago now, out in Southeast Asia. And some of those communities, they're still with us and they're still helping us grow the game. And that centricity on community and feedback and working with the community to together evolve the competitive game is something that's been really important to us. And then finally, I think as a company, we're just deeply, deeply passionate about competitive gameplay, and it's something where literally all of us, we try to attend all the events we do, we try to hang out with the community as much as possible, and sitting there and trying to figure out how can we make this game even better for the people who are playing it every day is something that's important to us. And we're just really thankful and humbled that all of those folks who have been with us from the beginning, and those people who are creating content, who are streaming, who are out there helping us grow, we really owe it all to them. So thank you if you guys are watching.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me here at GDC, and we will keep you guys up to date on all things esports right here on Yahoo.